Hello everybody, this is going to be a video about how to make a Natsu cosplay from the anime Fairy Tail. It's really simple, so I'm sure you can get it done in a day or two. Let's get started. You see here my tank top folded along the fold of the fabric. You're going to pin that down and cut it out, including the neck hole. You're going to cut that space out all the way around. Then take your tank top again, and then you'll fold it on the side that's open, like that. Pin it down and cut it out. So this part is your wrist measurement. You'll need to add on at least 1 inch to that so it makes sure that you can attach it, and then make it 2 inches wide or 2.5 inches wide for your seam allowance, and then you'll connect those and cut it out. This is the bottom of your pants measurement. You will need to make that at least 4 inches wide. So this is going to be your hip measurement all the way around. And then this part is your waist to knee measurement. And you'll make lines across and connect them. You can see I measured it out with pins. And then you'll cut it out. What you'll need next is your white fabric, which you see I have mine here. It looks wonky because I've used it for another project. But you'll place your vest pieces and your bottom half all on this and cut them out. Cut everything out, you're going to want to leave the pins in, then you'll sew all the way around the edges of each of those pieces. You also need to roll hem your clothes so that they look nicer when you put it together. You'll then also need to hem your wrist cloth so that it doesn't fray on the edges, as you can see here. The next step will be putting your top together. So take your big piece on the back and one of your small pieces and match up the corners like so, and you will just sew this part together, and then you can sew that part as well, but be sure you leave this part open because that is your armhole, so keep that open. Everything else you can sew down. Next, you'll need your yellow trim, which I have here, and you're going to fold it kind of in half and make it sandwich over your fabric like that. So then your entire fabric will be like so. I'll just pin it down and sew it all the way around the bottom part of your costume, and then all the way around your vest and around the armholes as well. Now you're going to take your leg cloths and you're going to fold them in half. You're going to sew this end and this end and almost all the way down, and then you're going to leave a gap. What I am doing here is that I'm going to turn this fabric inside out, and I'm going to use a chopstick to help me push the fabric through, and then also to get those corners nice and crisp. On the open hole where your cloth is, you're going to sew it by hand, that little hole, and then you'll iron it, and then you'll be done with that. The last thing you're going to do is you're going to get out your white pants, and then your bottom of the dark, that's where you're going to put the bottom. And be sure that you put the open flat part on the outside seam, because that's where you'll tie it off to make it look like Natsu's costume. But yeah, leave that part open and then sew the rest down and sew it. Get out your wrist fabric and you will get your snap and you'll sew it on to either end. Make sure that it's enough room that you can get your wrist around those. For the scarf, I'm going to crochet my own, so I'm not going to include it in the video, but you can make your own. Measure 5 feet long of your white fabric, and then on the edges, sew all the way down for at least 5 inches on both sides. Then take a black marker and crisscross it in between. And then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to cut that clean edge, but be sure not to cut into where that thread was, and that'll prevent tearing. For the tattoo, you can use your red marker and have someone draw it on for you, or you can make a temporary tattoo, which I'll include a link above my hand, right here. This is where the link to go, so press it. Alright. Also, if you want to get pink hair dye, you can get it in the party section of the store usually, or you can buy a wig, but buying the spray paint stuff would be way cheaper. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope that you have a wonderful day, guys. Bye!